We are going to take a look at the tactical gameplay that gave Mikel Arteta his win over Pep Guardiola in the Premier League last Sunday. We're going to dive into Mikel Arteta's tactics because it worked so well against the reigning champions Manchester City. Manchester City struggled to break down Arsenal, only having 4 shots, their fewest ever in Premier League game under Pep Guardiola. Arsenal, who pressing a bit of a 4-4-2 diamond, were so brave in how they pressed all to Mikel Arteta tactics. Arsenal's 4-4-2 diamond is basically you have 2 outside midfielders narrow a little bit to create a base. You have Declan Rice, or the nominal central midfielder, that's at the tip of that diamond. This is a great structure because not only does it give you good coverage, but you can force your opponents down certain ways. Arsenal's pressing structure was absolutely fantastic, and Declan Rice was arguably leading the press. We start with Declan Rice's ability to not only deal with pressure and block the ball, he really played with fantastic challenge. One of those moments was making a brilliant challenge on Matheus Nunes in the second half. City had just won the ball. Nunes carries the ball through the heart of the Arsenal midfield. As Haaland is the option and Arsenal can't really block that off. The ball goes into the feet of Haaland. As Nunes is carrying the ball into the opponent's half, look at Declan Rice's awareness. He doesn't get too aggressive on Haaland. He very much notices what Matheus Nunes is doing. The moment he's on the wrong side, Declan Rice gets back, puts in a brilliant tackle and wins the ball back for Arsenal. Is simply fantastic defensive midfield play. Declan Rice is absolutely good at being aggressive high at the pitch. Not only has he got natural ability and winning challenges, but he's got the energy to keep that up for 90 minutes. On top of that, he was the player of the match. Let's look at how Arteta was bold with his positioning of Zinchenko. Julian Alvarez was basically dropping in to create this box shape for Manchester City, arguably building up in a bit of a 4-2-2 structure. What we saw with Zinchenko is he would move inside and he would block off the diamond. If Arsenal were looking to squeeze high, he would tuck in and fill in that space. What Arsenal did in this situation is they went man-to-man with a spare man at the back, William Saliba. Gabriel goes man-to-man on Haaland and Ben White would be on Phil Foden. Arsenal was so good at stopping Man City, one of the best possession teams in the world of football. Let's take a look at how Arsenal stopped Man City in the diamond structure possession. We can see Gabriel Jesus far side dealing with Mateo Kovacic. We have Martinelli is nice and narrow in the diamond structure. Declan Rice is dealing with Bernardo Silva at the tip of the diamond. We got Martin Odegaard pressuring the ball, he then follows the ball to press the goalkeeper. We can see the tip of the diamond. Declan Rice is still stuck on Bernardo Silva. We have Rico Lewis and Gabriel Martinelli is man-to-man on him. Gabriel Martinelli is waiting for the right moment, he's going to jump on Lewis. If the ball's played into his feet, or he's going to move wide and look to block off either the pass inside or out wide to the fullback. Eddie Nketiah role in the move is good as well. He presses out with the Manchester City right-sided centre-back. In possession is Ruben Diaz. We could just see this from Declan Rice, who was absolutely fantastic. He is picking up from Bernardo Silva when the ball is on the right side of the pitch. He's going to jump and pick up Rico Lewis. Martinelli is going to read the tactical situation and pull wide and look to cover that lateral space. The ball's played wide, you can see Declan Rice jump onto Lewis and put pressure on the ball. Martinelli has got Kyle Walker in his pocket to jump on him. Declan Rice puts the pressure on Rico Lewis, forces him into a dodgy pass. We can see him go off his feet because of how quickly Declan Rice closes it down. Zinchenko in that inside position, as we mentioned before, he's pushed inside on Julian Alvarez. It's a bad touch from Julian Alvarez, Jorginho intercepts and Arsenal can transition through Zinchenko, ball out wide to Declan Rice. A great carry forward from Declan Rice and Arsenal win a corner. It comes from great defensive work and great tactical gameplay from Arsenal to have the extra defensive midfielder. Arsenal really stopped Manchester City out of the back. There was a lack of ball to the likes of Julian Alvarez and Phil Foden in the final third because of how good Arsenal's pressing was. The game was changed with the substitutions. Pep Guardiola went actually away from the 4-3-3 shape or the narrow 4-3-3 shape he was playing and switched to a more defensive 4-4-2 structure. Let's take a look at the goal. Now we've got Declan Rice in deep position. As the play goes forward, as we see Thomas Partey carry the ball out. You can see Martin Odegaard pulling Thomas Partey. What Arsenal want to do is kind of coax you into pressure. Great communication for the captain drawing Thomas Partey forward. As the play moves forward, there's no pressure on the ball, so Matheus Nunes has to jump out of position, creating space. Tomiyasu is running off Phil Foden in this position, which creates a massive problem. We can see he's gone, there is space for him to attack. The ball over the top from Thomas Partey gets onto the head of Tomiyasu. There is a little knockdown to Kai Havertz. We can now see Kyle Walker has got a collapse over. This creates even more space for Martinelli on the edge of the box to simply put the ball into the back of the net with a deflection of Nathan Ake. Let's take a look of the aerial shot. Thomas Partey is carrying the ball into the opponent's half. We've got Declan Rice in that deep defensive midfield position. Tomiyasu is making the forward motion. Kyle Walker is in kind of wide position because of how wide Martinelli is. Great ball over the top from Partey as mentioned before. Manchester City defensive structure has to collapse in to try and deal with, in which it opens up that bit of space for Martinelli to apply the finish. Superb goal for Arsenal. When we look at the heat maps, you can see how deep Declan Rice's heat map is. He's most active just outside the penalty area. His defensive work is brilliant. Gabriel and William Saliba were both absolutely outstanding. William Saliba made 2 clearances, won 100% of his 2 tackles and completed 99% of his passes. He didn't commit a single foul or get dribbled past even once. He had Haaland in his pocket. The key highlight was his tackle against Haaland. William Saliba defines this match with real strength, using brilliant shoulder challenge, just completely knocks Haaland off his feet. This was a counterattack in the first half. Haaland lost possession 8 times, lost 3 aerial duels while accumulating 0.00 xg. Good results for Arsenal to beat the reigning champions Manchester City. Arteta gameplay and game tactical, our work magic is really working.